This week's class, When Your Health Matters, the class designed to empower you to better health through knowledge and education. And I'm your host, Dr. Richard Huntoon from Advanced Alternative Medicine Center. We are located at 138 Canal Street in Pooler Park, that is in Pooler, Georgia. We're in Suite 404 of Building 400. If you want to get a hold of me, I would love for you to stop into the office, have an opportunity to ask me your question directly. It'd give me an opportunity to do a brief evaluation, just because my curiosity is going to want to know what it is that you're dealing with so I can offer you a solution. So that's always the best way. But with people still being reticent with COVID-19 still lurking about, maybe you haven't received your vaccine yet, whatever the case happens to be. If you're a little apprehensive about coming to visit me directly, you can always call me directly at area code 845-561-2225. Again, 845-561-2225. That is my cell phone. I'll usually be the one answering that phone. If you're not interested in calling me and you want to do the texting thing, please don't text that phone, as that phone is not equipped to receive texts. I will not get the text. I will not respond to you, and then that would defeat the effort that you put forward in an effort to communicate with me. But you can always email me directly at docrick@spineboy.com. That's DOCRICK@spineboy.com. And it would be my pleasure to help you to better understanding what the concerns that you have regarding your health. This particular class is on autoimmune disease. I mentioned it in my last class, the autoimmune disease. And I guess the question that one needs to ask is, autoimmune disease, the concept that your body could actually attack itself seems pretty ridiculous. And yet, when I was a kid growing up, there was like 3 or 4 different autoimmune diseases back in the late 60s, early 70s. But we now have over 150 different variations of the body attacking itself. That just seems lunacy, absolute lunacy, that we would have that many circumstances. And I would venture to say that it's because we have a lack of understanding in the medical profession that would be more interested in treating autoimmune disease instead of understanding the mechanism of cause of autoimmune disease. And once you understand the mechanism of cause, the solution really isn't all that difficult. Autoimmune disease is defined specifically as a disorder in which the immune system produces autoantibodies to an endogenous, meaning produced or growing from within, an endogenous antigen with consequent injury to the tissues themselves. In simple terms, the body attacks itself. Now, why would the body attack itself? Well, if you understand the foundational mechanism for why a body would do that, and if you understand how the immune system functions, then it's not all that difficult to understand. Your immune system is designed to attack any level of foreign protein circulating around in the blood. Proteins should not be found within the blood. Amino acids, the breakdown product of proteins, should be found in the blood. But if you have leaky gut, if you have leaky lung, if you have leaky skin, then whole proteins may get into the blood that don't belong, and your body may develop an allergy. But if you develop an allergy to yourself, which is what autoimmune disease is, that's where the protective layer around the different organs or glands begins to weaken, and then the whole proteins of those organs or glands basically fray away into the bloodstream and circulate around, and then the immune system develops an immune response. So the immune system develops an attack cell that goes after those foreign proteins, which really aren't foreign at all. They're from the body themselves, and now the body ends up attacking itself. The most famous of these disorders is known as systemic lupus erythematosus, or SLE, or sometimes shortened to the name lupus. It's an inflammatory connective tissue disorder of unknown etiology, occurring predominantly in young women and also in children. Because it's of unknown etiology, what does that mean? That means that they have no idea where it's coming from. Well, it doesn't make any sense to allow somebody who doesn't understand the mechanism of cause to be the one in charge of treating it. Treating symptoms rather than remedying and addressing the underlying cause is a complete waste of time. But that's our current medical system, where you take lifetime medication to help suppress the symptoms associated with whatever your underlying imbalance is, and never address the underlying imbalance to begin with. So the question begs with any autoimmune disease, since there's over 150 of them, why would the immune system all of a sudden start attacking cells that are normal for the body? Well, as I mentioned, it has to do with the body leaking whole proteins from the organs or glands into the blood. But why would that happen? Well, probably the greatest nutritionist ever to have lived, his name was Dr. Royal Lee, and Dr. Royal Lee predicted all of these things way back in the 1930s and 40s. And during the 1940s, he developed a nutritional solution to the impending autoimmune diseases known as protomorphogens. Protomorphogens are specific nutritional solutions. They use the cell determinants to help repair what's going on in the particular organ or gland that happens to be leaking those proteins, to allow the immune system to go after the countermeasures, while the actual components of the protomorphogens go to repairing the leakage that is occurring. And so protomorphogens that Standard Process has, they have protomorphogens for every organ, every gland within the body. So they actually have solutions for autoimmune disease. So the number one reason for why we develop these weaknesses within the body is the number one reason why we develop any weakness or any disease within the body is nutritional deficiency diseases. When one is deficient in nutrition, when one is consuming entirely too much completely refined and processed, what I call the crap food, when one consumes entirely too much refined sugar, then the body can't repair itself. Different medications that people are taking chronically are going to create a weakness within the system themselves. Genetic predisposition, I'm sure, is part of the equation, and lifestyle choices and the way that we lead our lives in terms of the foods that we eat and the behaviors that we continue to behave with all the time lead to bad habits, which lead to bad results. So all autoimmune diseases are nutritional deficiency diseases. And when Dr. Lee discovered that people become deficient in certain nutrients specific, again, from the high refined carbohydrates, man-made foods, and foods that are high in sugar, the protective layer of the organs begins to weaken and eventually breaks. And thus the organ or gland begins to leak these whole proteins out into the bloodstream, and then the immune system needs to respond to that. So what does a body need to do in order to heal from this? Well, you need to have proper evaluation for starters. The fact that they've evolved 3 or 4 different diagnoses into over 150 different diagnoses says that they're not looking for solutions. They're looking to classify disease so that they can offer up expensive treatments that never solve anything. And that just seems ridiculous. It seems counterproductive. So what can a body do? Well, if a body gets properly evaluated for where the problem is, then you can take the appropriate protomorphogen to actually heal the problem at its source, and then the autoimmune disease magically goes away. So what this means to you, if you or a loved one, friend, neighbor, somebody that you're acquainted with, is suffering from any level of autoimmune disease, I would like for you to pick up the phone and call me. I would like to have a conversation with you. I would like to invite you in for an evaluation so that we can determine if we have the nutritional solutions to solve your health imbalances that is ultimately causing you to have autoimmune disease. I would invite you to call my office at area code 845-561-2225. Again, 845-561-2225. I would ask you to email me at docrick@spineboy.com. That's DOCRICK@spineboy.com. I would invite you to stop into the office If you want to mask up, you can do that. If you want me to mask up, I can do that too. Not a problem. My interest is in meeting with you and giving you the understanding that you need and helping you to understand that there is a solution other than taking prednisone and other immune suppressive medications for the rest of your life. We can solve your problem once and for all, and you can go about the rest of your life no longer having autoimmune disease. The address again is 138 Canal Street. We're in Suite 404 of Building 400. Again, the phone number is 845-561-2225, or you can email me directly at docrick, DOCRICK, at spineboy.com. Now, who should be checked for autoimmune disease? Pretty much anybody that thinks they have autoimmune disease, have been told they have autoimmune disease, or doesn't want to develop autoimmune disease. I take protomorphogens every day to support the various organs in my body. And I don't seem to have any of these problems. Why? Because I'm taking a protective approach to my health and wellness. And I would invite you to do the same. So that's it for this week's class on autoimmune disease. I'm going to ask you to tune back in next week, same health time, same health station. This is Dr. Richard Huntoon from Advanced Alternative Medicine Center saying, I look forward to your feedback. I look forward to your emails. I look forward to your phone calls. I look forward to having a conversation with you when your health matters. Thanks for tuning in.